Hello everyone, this is a new episode of Rivers Art Draws. My name is Nick Rivers, and today I will be sketching out Cyborg, aka Victor Stone. You've seen him in the Teen Titans, you've seen him in the Justice League, and now you'll see me try to draw him here. Now, I'm pretty quickly just roughed in the shapes that I want for his costume. Um, I like to, since this is a pretty straight on headshot of him, save a little bit of time. I've duplicated the left side of his costume and flipped it around and moved it over to the right side of his costume. Um, Whenever I have a hard time with geometric shapes sometimes, especially if it's something that's supposed to be a symmetrical kind of design, I never draw the shape the same way on the next side. So it's a way to kind of, I don't know, make things a little easier. Um, I wouldn't recommend, like, when you get into inking your piece, I wouldn't recommend always duplicating and flipping your inks, because it just, especially when it comes down to like cross hatching and whatnot, you want your cross hatching to be kind of unique, and your shading to be kind of unique. But I'll get into that a little bit later. With the blue lines roughed out as well as I think they should be, I faded back a little bit, so I can focus on the pencil lines here, add a little bit of roughness to the cyborg side of Vic's face, make it look, kind of, I don't know, deformed, like it's like he's got some mechanical bits underneath that metal shell. Um, and this is again, like, I've kind of covered it in other videos, but this is where the drawings usually really start to take life for me. This is kind of where some of the detail gets added in there, and I fix my mistakes, like actually give him a neck. Again, using my lasso tool to pull my blue line sketch underneath down and make it look a little, give Vic a little bit more of a neck and make him look a little bit more imposing. And just kind of start putting in the lines in his costume, in his armor, rather. You'll notice with the pencil sketch that I'm doing here, it's still pretty rough, and that's mostly because I know that I'm going to be inking it. If I was handling it off to a different inker, I'd probably, take a little bit more time to clean things up, especially these my blacks that I'm spotting right here. It's done really roughly, just kind of get a general idea where I might want my kind of um, my dark spots in the drawing. Um, Try not to go too overboard with that, so there's just enough of variety there. But really, yeah, you want to, if you're working with someone else, you might want to take a little bit more time to clean up your pencils, um, but this would suffice for now. Um, a little bit about this drawing too. It's I did it all in one sit down. Um, a lot of these videos that I'm going to post for you guys are most of the time they're done in just one sit down. Um, there may be a couple of videos down the line that I'll kind of break things up a little bit more, and possibly even slow things down a little bit too, as far as the speed of the video, so you can catch a few more things. Um, but back to the drawing, I don't know if you caught that up top, what I did with his head. Made a little indentation there, because I thought that looks very cyborgish. Um, Move his lips around a little bit too, kind of get it to match a little bit better than what I had. And with my blue line sketch gone, you can kind of see a little bit more of the detail coming through. With that done, I go and convert that to my pencil lines to blue line and get ready to ink. With my inking on his armor here, you'll see I've kind of mirrored the same thing that I did with did with the rough sketch, and I'm going to take one side of his costume once I have the lines the way I want it to be, and duplicate it and flip it over horizontally, so it's a mirror image. But I'm not doing, if you notice, I'm not doing it after I've rendered everything out completely. I'm just using the basic contour lines that I use for his armor to do it. You can do it that way. You can render everything out and then flip it. It'll make everything a lot shorter for you, but it'll also look too obvious if you do it that way. Even though the lines are the same on his costume, I don't see the light reflecting exactly the same on the left side as it is going to be on the right side. So, and the cross hatching being the same and everything, it looks a little too obvious if you do it that way. So that's at least my 2 cents on it. For those interior lines, I used the marker, and for the outlines, I like to use the Maru brush. Except for here, I use the marker again. Just the marker gives me a little bit more control. The Maru brush gives me those really nice thin to thick lines. And if you're lucky enough to have a Wacom tablet with the pin pressure sensitivity, it works very naturally. With the lines on his face, I kind of purposely made them. Well, if you notice, like the earpieces don't line up exactly, and that's done on purpose. He is a cyborg after all, so I figure that, the eyepiece and the earpiece, they're in the same in the general place they should be, but maybe they're a bit off, because it's armor and hardware and all that those fun things to think about. I kind of like, that's one of the things I really enjoy doing when I draw is, even if it's a character, I have a lot of fun doing it if it's my own characters, but even with characters that are already established, coming up with your version of them while you're drawing and thinking about like the things that the places you would take the character, and maybe all those things that will kind of inform your own touch on those characters. That's probably the reason why I can never really get into drawing exactly in a particular style. There's artists out there that can do that, and I give them all the praise and props in the world. There's artists out there that I've seen that can draw Bart Simpson exactly how he looks in the cartoons, and they can draw, Bugs Bunny exactly the way he looks. I've never been like that. I could probably fake it just enough, but yeah, I've never been able to, never had that eye to be able to do that. I like, like I said, I like thinking up my own story for these characters while I'm drawing it, and coming up with my own interpretation. And then hopefully within those interpretations there's something that someone else will see and might use in their interpretation, because that's what I'm sure that I've done. I've seen Cyborg a lot of different times. I've kind of pulled from all of those different versions without even looking at a reference, and pulled from, and maybe not even just with the Cyborg character, but with just characters like this that I've seen while I'm drawing. I kind of recall something in my mind that I've seen. I'm like, oh, maybe that'll look cool on my version. Only way to find out is to try it. I actually, one of the things that I miss doing is drawing with other groups of artists, and kind of throwing a subject out there, throwing a character out there. Say, hey, let's all draw Spider-Man, or let's all draw Moon Knight, or let's all draw Deadpool, and seeing the different variations that we all come up with in our own way. Um, I really really love doing that. Matter of fact, if you're an artist and you're watching this, and and you've I don't know, if you have a weekend or a day throughout the week that you're free, and you ever want to draw and you want somebody to draw with, well, I might not be able to be there physically, but um, I am on Skype. If you hit me up on, it's Nick Rivers Design, all one word. If you hit me up on there, uh, let me know if you want to get together and do a little Skype sketch jam. I would, I'd love it. I love to draw. I draw pretty much every day. um, a lot of it is stuff that you guys don't see, but I keep busy, and it's you know it's because I love artwork. Um, Getting back to the drawing here, I figured it'd be pretty cool to give them like a little circuit board um, background there. That way it's not just a stark white background. Um, it's a little something. It's not a full-on background, but it's a little something to make the image interesting. And now we move on to the G brush, which again, if you've seen the Green Lantern Rivers Art Draw video, I like to use this brush to kind of get that chrome look, and you can go pretty crazy with this. Um, Again, if you have pin pressure sensitivity on your device, on your stylus, on your tablet, this brush is pretty can do some pretty cool work. Oh, if you're a Cyborg fan, and you haven't checked it out yet, I strongly recommend taking a look. I don't follow the series at all, but I've seen some of the images from Ivan Rai's Cyborg series. I think it's a solo series that he does. Um, if not, it's in the Justice League. I'm not sure. I haven't kept up with DC for a couple years now, but I've seen some of the artwork and some of the trades and some of the previews books, and he does a different take on Cyborg, more streamlined take on Cyborg, but it's really cool. All the artwork's really it's very detailed, and he's got like a bio organic thing going on, um, which fits the character. And right here, I've fell into a little bit of a problem with just that solid, stark black in the center, and I wanted to break that up, so I used some smaller lines there, smaller cross hatching to kind of fade it out a little bit, possibly even suggest light bouncing off or reflecting from, maybe it's because of the his arc reactor thing in the middle is reflecting some light that way. Not sure how all those things work. Uh, one of the benefits of being able to draw a character over and over and over again is you kind of figure those things out the more times you draw that character. I've found that out to be true when I'm working on a comic book. There's still things I haven't quite nailed with that character's look that I'll get better with in due time. And here it is. It's pretty much getting down to the point where I can stick a fork in this drawing. I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. Just adding some little minor details here and there, and going through and a couple more cross hatching marks there, and fixing a few lines, adding a little bit of shadow here and there. Oh, and adding his peach fuzz on his head. Give him somewhat of a hairstyle, even though he doesn't have any hair. And I guess as Cyborg would say, booyah. That pretty much does it for this drawing. Again, guys, if there is any character that you would like to see me tackle in the next episode of Rivers Art Draws, please let me know. I'll be back next week with a new episode of Rivers Art Colors. You'll have to stay tuned to see who I will be rendering out for that episode. If you like this one here, hit the like, subscribe, or share. And that's it for now, guys. I'm out. See you next time.